Hello and welcome, everyone. I would like to thank you for joining today's webcast, which is the second episode of the series What's New in Pure Variance 6.0. This episode focuses on the Pure Variance connector for Polarion. My name is Rachna, and I work as a consultant at Pure Systems, and I will be the moderator for today's webcast. I'd now like to introduce Shivani, our presenter for the day, who is working in the area of field application engineering and is sharing her knowledge about PLE and Pure Variants in tutorials, trainings, and workshops to help our customers with their journey to a systematic variant management approach. Now, this is an overview of the upcoming webcasts. Today, we look at the new Pure Variants connector for Polarion and how does it complement Polarion variants. This will be done based on a simple example where we will walk you through the capabilities of Pure Variants connector for Polarion. In episode 3, we will conclude the series What's New in Pure Variants 6.0 with a session on CodeBeamer. You can register for our upcoming webcasts on our website, and you can also watch the recordings of our past webcasts on Pure Variant's YouTube channel. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to post them in the chat. Only our team will be able to see your questions. We will take them and at the end answer all of them in a Q&A session. But if there are still any open questions left after the session, we will contact you to have a follow-up. And now I would like to hand it over to Shivani. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachna. So let's start before we look at the demonstration. Let's start by talking about the differences between Polarion variants and the pure variants connector for Polarion. Polarion variants has been designed as an easy to use variant management solution that is fully integrated within Polarion. It provides basic variant management for Polarion assets like requirements and test cases. So, if your use case is to cover structural variability within the documents of a Polarion project, then Polarion variants is the right solution for you. Coming to the pure variants connector for Polarion. So this offers additional functionalities on top of Polarion variants. So with the dedicated product line engineering tool, that is Pure Variants, and its connector for Polarion, you can implement holistic variant management that covers your Polarion assets as well as your system and software architectures, simulation models, code, and other engineering assets located in different tools. Moreover, this Pure Variants connector for Polarion, it supports parametric variability in Polarion assets and also some advanced use cases such as use of multiple feature models, nested feature models, cross-model dependencies to cover variability in more complex systems on system and component level. And also with Pure Variants connector for Polarion, feature models can be used to manage variability across multiple Polarion projects and to configure variants in multiple steps. So, if you have to manage variability in your Polarion assets for a complex system, if you want to consistently control variability in engineering assets across multiple domains and tool borders, and if you're looking for a standardized product line engineering solution that gets you ahead in implementing your digitization strategy, then Pure Variants and the Pure Variants connector for Polarion are the right choices for you. So with this, let's move on to the demonstration. So now let me give you a typical product line workflow for which we make use of Polarion as a ALM tool, which holds a superset of requirements. Pure Variants, which holds the feature models that is used to generate, configure and generate variants. Then we have the Pure Variants connector for Polarion, which is seamlessly integrated into Polarion. And then we will have a look at the parametric variability, structural variability. So having said this, now you see that we have the CarLife demo project opened. And within the tool, you have the Pure Variants tab, upon clicking which you have the 150% requirements document on your left. And on the right, you have the Pure Variants in-tool integration, which loads the feature models directly from Pure Variants. So this is how the UI will look like. Moving on. Now we will see how we can control existence of requirements. So that is the structural variability. Let's start by adding restrictions to Polarion variants in order to map them with the features of the pure variance feature models. This is done by first selecting the requirement and then opening the restriction editor. Here, using the autocomplete functionality, you can type in the feature based rules and also use the drop down menu to select the features. In our case, we've added hazard warning as a restriction to the requirement heading automatic hazard warning. So upon clicking apply, now you can see that the restriction that we formulated in the restriction editor has been saved in the attribute restriction of the heading. So this means that now we have added the structural variation point to the document by expressing that this chapter of requirements is only needed for variants that have the feature hazard warning selected in the variant configuration. So this is how we go about a structural variability, and this is how we add restrictions. Now moving on to the next part, that is, as I said, with pure variance connector for Polarion, it also supports parametric variability. Let's see how that is done. So here we are going to select first the requirement that we would like to add the calculation. Upon selecting the requirement, we will open the calculation editor. So we have it here. And then here you can add the calculation either to the description or the title of the requirement. In our case, we are going to add it to the description. So similarly, like how we did in the restriction editor, we are going to use the autocomplete functionality to type in the feature and the drop down menu to select the features as well as one of its attributes. In our case, we've selected the feature DR LED and its attribute pulse, which we are going to multiply with 1000. So this is a calculation that is added, and by default, the calculation is always injected into the requirements within the square brackets, as you all can see here. And moreover, the value for the attribute can be different for different variants depending on what value you have configured in your variant. Next, we have the preview mode. So by clicking on the preview button, we can visualize how a model will look like after generating the variant specific asset. So let's see how that is done. Here we do this by first selecting the desired variant. So using this drop down menu, we are going to select our desired variant, that is highlight USA. And after selecting the desired variant, we can just click on this show preview icon, which grays out all the requirements that are not part of this particular variant. And also the calculations are solved as well. So you see here, calculations are solved and the values are injected for this variant. So this basically helps you gives you a quick overview of what output you can basically expect when you generate your variant specific asset. And also you can exit this preview mode by just clicking on this reset icon that is here right next to it. So this is how the preview mode works. Now moving on, coming to the next step. So we created parametric variability, structural variability. We even saw the preview mode. Now let's see how we generate variant specific requirements. So that is the transformation. Pure variance connector for Polarion offers 3 transformation modes. So one is the enumeration transformation, which is also called as the attribute based variant specific transformation. So this transformation mode does not generate any new document. In fact, it just tags each requirement with the name of the variant that particular requirement is part of. So the main idea behind this is that while you're working on your 150% Polarion requirements document and you change a requirement, then you will instantly see which requirements are currently using this, which variants are currently using this requirements. Next, we have the link transformation. In link transformation, it generates separate requirements document for each variant. And in there, we refer to a subset of superset requirements that is needed for that variant. So meaning that the requirements in the variant specific output is always in sync with the 150% document. Or if you specify that it will be based on a given specific baseline, then it will always point to a specific baseline of a superset asset. So here, since there is no copy of the variant generated, there is no support for calculation. Moreover, the generated 100% documents cannot be edited independently from the 150% documents. Then moving on, we have the next transformation mode, that is the copy transformation. In copy transformation, we generate variant specific modules with copies of requirements that are needed for those variants. So here, calculation defined in the superset document are replaced by values in the variant specific copies. Moreover, you end up with a distinct variant specific instantiation of your Polarion document, which you may adjust manually later on. So now, having said this and giving a brief introduction to the different transformation modes, let's have a look at them one by one. Let's first start with the copy transformation mode. So here we so before so when if you want to when you want to generate a variant specific output, you have to first switch to the pure variance web client. And you can do that easily by just clicking on this pencil icon that you just saw there, maybe, yeah. So, yes, so this pencil icon. And then here, the Pure Variance web client loads the models for you. And after selecting the variant, in our case, we are selecting Highlight USA, you can trigger the transformation. And this opens the Create Transformation dialog box where you can select the type of transformation mode, copy, and we are going to run the transformation. While the transformation is running, as you can see, you can also have a look at the status of the transformation. So here, after this transformation is successfully finished, we move back to the Polarion side. And here we have a separate folder created for us, which holds the 100% variant specific output. And in this folder, this document, you can see that the calculations have been solved, and this document can also be worked upon independently of the 150% document. So this is the copy transformation mode. Now let's look at the next one, that is the enumeration transformation mode. As I said earlier, enumeration transformation mode does not generate a new document. So let's see what that means. So here we follow the same steps. We have the variant selected. We are going to trigger the transformation by clicking on this, and then we click on the run transformation. Here we have the create transformation dialog box open for us. We select the type of transformation, Polarion enumeration in this case, and we start the job. While the transformation is running, as you can see, we can see the status as well, and after it's succeeded, we move back to the Polarion side, and here we go to the 150% the system requirements document, and we see that each requirement have been tagged with the name of the variant that requirement is part of. So here you see you have these requirements, and yeah, so we have this requirement which is a part of the variants Highlight USA. So this way, in one glance you can see the different requirements, part of which variant, and also any kind of changes you're doing, you automatically get to know which variants are going to get affected because of it. So this is the enumeration transformation. And now coming to the link transformation mode, let's see how what kind of output that generates. So we follow the same steps. So we are going to trigger the transformation. We are going to select the transformation mode here, link, and then we start the job. And the job, sorry, the transformation starts, and you can check the status here, as I said earlier. And after the transformation is successful, you get a message saying it has been succeeded. And then we go to the Polarion side. So here, and as I told you all, we have a separate variance link folder generated, which has the 100% document variance specific output. So this document is a subset of the superset of requirements, and it is always in sync with the superset document. And here the calculations are not resolved. So we saw these three transformation modes. Now let's move on to the next part. That is the migration. So that is if you're currently using Polarion variants and want to yeah, and want to upgrade to the pure variance connector for Polarion, you can do that by you can take all your existing feature models and variant models from Polarion variants. This is done easily with, as you see, within the tool you have this migration import wizard that helps you transfer all these models from Polarion variants to a pure variance project. Moreover, it automatically converts the Polarion variance restrictions to pure variance restrictions. So your job is made much easier with this particular wizard. So this was the last part, and yeah, this was about a pure variance connector for Polarion. Now I would like to hand it over to Rachna for any questions.
So, thank you so much, Shivani, for walking our viewers through an example and telling us about the capabilities of pure variance with Polarion. And I'm pretty sure they would have found it interesting. In the meanwhile, um, I have a couple of questions here. So, the first question is, does the connector support variability in tables?
Yes, so restrictions can be added to rows and columns of tables in a Polarion document to control their existence. It is also possible to use calculations to inject values into the cells of a table. So, yeah, it is possible.
Okay, thank you. And we have one more which says, which item types are supported by Pure Variance connector for Polarion? Is it only limited to requirements?
No, so there are no limitations. The connector can be used to control variability across all item types in Polarion, including requirements, test cases, and also custom item types. So there's no limitations as such.
Okay, so I'm glad we are not disappointing our viewers here. And as of now, I do not see any other questions. So thank you so much, everyone. And if you still have any other open questions, please write to us and we would be more than happy to support you here. Thank you.
Thank you.